Hey guys, I'm Jax, and I thought the best way to celebrate the spookiest time of year would be to sit down and watch the scariest thing I could think of. So I just watched a new Netflix original film. A grieving woman, hoping to find solace deep in an isolated forest, encounters a stranger who injects her with a paralytic agent. As the agent gradually takes over her body, she must run, hide, and fight for her life before her entire nervous system shuts down. The irony of a film called Don't Move, making me very tempted to move off my couch, is not lost on me. And let me tell you, the urge to move off my couch once I am on my couch is something I do not deal with very often. If you feel like your final girls in horror films have too much agency, well, don't worry, because Don't Move has you covered. This film stars a lead character lady, and she is paralyzed from some kind of drug situation from the serial killer guy for the entire film, and spends the entire film just kind of standing about kind of like this. And every now and then she'll do this. But for most of the film, it really is just that. And I don't know, I don't even know if I can put into words how awkward and uncomfortable I felt at times with this film, because I felt like it's almost a really interesting concept, a really interesting idea, taking that classic, a serial killer man is trying to get a woman and she's defenseless and she's running about, but what if she was like drugged the whole time and couldn't move? Like, how would she deal with that? Like, what type of film would that create? And it's kind of an interesting gimmick. And I thought, like, on paper, in theory, very interesting. In execution, not so much. Not interesting at all, and I'm not sure if that's because the concept actually isn't as interesting as it kind of seems when you first think about it. You're like, oh yeah, I haven't seen a film like that before. Or if like does this film take it to its extreme? Does this film do everything you could do with this concept, or is it shockingly uninspired? Is it completely devoid of creativity? Because that's what I kind of felt. But then I was also like, what do you do with an idea like this? Like, where do you take this idea? She can't do anything, and there's a couple of moments here or there where I'm like, that's a bit of fun, I guess. But generally speaking, they just take so much agency out of this character by kind of drugging her and paralyzing her for the whole film. And you just kind of deal with beats where you kind of know exactly where it's going. You kind of know exactly where it's going to go. And nothing surprising happens, nothing interesting or kind of out of left field, like out of the box happens. It feels like this is the most generic, boring version of that film and that concept and this gimmick that you could get, but also maybe just like it's not a good idea. And like when you really kind of get into the nitty gritty of writing it, you go, oh no, this isn't anything, because you take away so much of what makes a final girl fighting against a serial killer type character interesting and compelling, and you take away a lot of that personality. Because the opening scene is fantastic and it's fascinating, and this film like sets off before the like gimmick kicks in. It is a fascinating film and a really interesting way to kick off this film. The serial killer and the lady in question, like who gets paralyzed and stuff, their first meeting when you don't know what's going on, like you know what's going on because you've seen a movie before, and like you can vibe this guy pretty quickly because it's a movie. But like their dynamic and like where the scene starts and then where it ends, and when you know what's going to go in the next scene, super fascinating, super interesting, a really compelling way to start a film like this. But then when the gimmick kicks in, it's like, oh, all that great character work is gone. And at the end of the film, she's like, maybe I've learnt a thing and remember the start of the movie? I'm like, sure, but that was 5 minutes and we did an hour and a half of just nothing. And I don't think you've really grown in the way the film thinks she's grown. And that's because, like, she's paralyzed and she's not doing anything. I don't know. I think the film thinks it's doing a certain thing, but it feels like it's kind of almost doing exactly the opposite. And it feels kind of weird and gross at times to kind of like have her be so incapacitated for so much of the film, and it just kind of feels a bit weird and icky, and I don't think it kind of comes across the way the film thinks it comes across. Maybe I'm overreading that, but generally speaking, I thought the first 10 minutes was really interesting, and I'm like, I'm super keen for this. And then when the movie started, I was like, oh no, no. But with that being said, there are some great performances in this film from all two characters that are in this film. Great performance from that guy from one of those early seasons / probably a bunch of seasons of American Horror Story. You know the guy. And also a great performance despite the script at every turn trying to make sure she cannot give a good performance. Despite that, she does give a great performance. The lead actress, you know, that chick from Yellowstone. No, not that one, the other one. That's her. Probably you're thinking about her right now. It's a movie and it's not the worst thing I've seen this year. But that bar is so low that even a cockroach couldn't limbo under that bar. It's so close to the ground. I've seen some absolute trash this year. It's no Megalopolis, that's all I'll say.